Good morning and welcome to your sky reading for Thursday, the 30th of July. Before anything else, one small housekeeping note so you land in the right place. Readings today are from your sun sign. The link below finds yours in 10 seconds. That means the sign you were born under by date, the tropical sun sign, with the houses counted from it. If you have ever wondered whether to follow your rising sign here, set that aside for this edition and simply follow your Sunday. All times you hear are New York time. Today the moon is full and she is full in Aquarius. A full moon tends to show you what has already grown rather than what still needs starting. So expect clarity more than initiative. Early on, at 2:43 in the morning, the moon meets Saturn in a sextile, a steady and quietly practical contact that lends structure to whatever you carry into the day. Then in the late afternoon, at 5:26, the moon comes into a trine with Mars, which favors warmth, movement, and honest effort. From that same moment, 5:26 in the evening, the moon slips into her quiet pause and stays there until 8:13 tomorrow morning. That long stretch is not a problem. It simply rewards resting, tidying, and finishing over launching. Let the evening be soft. The sun is still in Leo and it enters Virgo in 23 days, so there is no rush in this season yet. 3 planets are retrograde now: Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. Their message is review rather than reversal. So revisit what you already began with fresh eyes. That is the shape of the day: bright, clear, and asking for completion instead of hurry. As you move through it, consider one small act of care that asks nothing back: a meal for someone hungry, or quiet help offered to a person who did not have to ask you twice. Aries, you stand at a powerful moment, and today rewards the quiet confidence you have already earned. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house 11, so friendships, community, and shared hopes have likely been pulling at your attention more than usual. On the work and money front, Jupiter, your period lord, sits in Leo in your house 5, which favors creative, visible effort. Pick the project you actually enjoy and give it your best hour today. In relationships, the moon in Aquarius, in that same 11th house of friendship and community, supports honest, unforced conversation with people who share your direction. So say the warm thing you have been thinking. For energy and health, Aries, Saturn is retrograde and debilitated in your first house, while the moon made an exact sextile to it at 2:43, which means steadiness serves you better than sprinting. Courage and quick. Decisive starts are your native language, so start something small and let it pace itself. Venus sits debilitated in your 6th house, a gentle reminder to keep the routines simple and the meals regular. The community thread that began yesterday settles today into real connection. Somewhere in the day, feed someone who is hungry or help a person who cannot repay you, and let that be complete in itself. Walk gently today and let the day come to you. Taurus, today favors turning your attention inward toward home and the quiet foundations that hold everything else up. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house 10, so public standing and how you are seen likely sat heavy on your mind. Now the moon has moved to Aquarius in that same 10th house of visibility, while the sun and Jupiter, your period lord, sit together in Leo in your 4th house of home and roots. For work and money, that means the real progress today happens behind the scenes rather than on stage. Tend the base and let the visible piece follow. Venus rules you, Taurus, and patience and steady building are your native language, which is exactly why slow work suits you now. Venus in Virgo in your fifth house is debilitated, so creative and romantic matters ask for gentleness rather than pressure. Say the simple, honest thing to someone close instead of the perfect thing. With Mercury in Cancer in your third house, a short, warm conversation carries further than a long explanation. For energy, keep the pace domestic and unhurried and rest earlier than usual. Let the day settle where it began, at home. If someone nearby needs a meal, quietly share yours, asking nothing at all. May today bring you one moment worth remembering. Gemini, today favors putting a big idea into plain words that other people can actually use. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house 9, so your thinking likely stretched toward distant horizons and bigger questions, and that widened view is still with you. On the work and money side, the Sun and Jupiter, your period lord, both move through Leo in your house, 3 of communication and daily exchange. You are ruled by Mercury, and curiosity and quick connection really are your native language. So, this is a strong window for pitching, writing, or teaching what you know. Hold that thought because the afternoon gives it a push. In relationships, Gemini, Mars sits in Gemini itself, in your first house, which means your presence lands strongly. Soften your delivery a little and warmth carries further than speed. Here is that push. The moon trines Mars exactly at 1726, and that supports one honest conversation or one clear message sent in that window. For energy, keep the pace steady rather than sprinting. Short walks between tasks suit you better than one long push. The wide view of yesterday now narrows into something sayable. Somewhere today, offer patient help to someone who is struggling to be understood. Go easy on yourself today. The stars are patient, and you can be too. Cancer, today favors clear speaking because your own voice is the instrument that carries you forward. Yesterday, the moon opened in your 8th house, so you may have felt turned inward, quieter than usual, sitting with something you were not ready to name. Mercury now moves through Cancer itself, your first house, and that sharpens how you think and how you explain yourself, which makes this a good window for the conversation about money or work you have been rehearsing. Jupiter, your period lord, sits in Leo in your second house of earnings, supporting steady rather than dramatic gains. Name one number today and write it down. Cancer, your relationships want gentleness. Since Venus in Virgo sits weekend in your third house of speech, keep messages short, warm and literal, and let tone do the work instead of length. That is where the promised payoff lands. The clarity Mercury gives you is best spent on being understood, not on being right. With the moon still in your 8th house, energy dips and returns in waves, so rest early rather than pushing. Ruled by the moon, care and deep intuition are your native language, and today they steady you. Feed someone who is hungry, quietly, asking nothing. Wishing you a calm and steady day ahead. Leo, today the sky returns you to yourself, and your clearest strength is simply being present without performing. Yesterday, with the moon opening in your house 7, you likely felt other people's needs pressing close, as though your attention belonged elsewhere. In work and money, Jupiter, your period lord, sits in Leo in your house 1, which supports you leading from your own conviction rather than borrowing someone else's plan. State your idea plainly in one conversation today. Venus is debilitated in Virgo in your house 2, So keep money decisions modest and unhurried, and by evening you will feel the steadiness that restraint gives back. In relationships, Leo, the moon moves through Aquarius in your house 7, your house of partnership, drawing your focus toward the other person. Ask one genuine question and let their answer stand without correction. For energy and health, Mercury in Cancer in your house 12 favors quiet, so protect a short stretch of solitude and let your rest be unimpressive. Ruled by the Sun, warmth and natural leadership are your native language, and that language is warmest when it is unforced. So the day turns from serving others to standing calmly in your own light. Somewhere today, feed someone who is hungry, asking nothing at all. If you would like to go deeper, your free full chart is available on the website. Let today be simple. That is enough. Virgo, today rewards the quiet inner sorting you have been doing rather than any outward push. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house 6, so the day likely felt busy with small tasks and steady maintenance. That thread continues. The moon now moves through Aquarius in that same 6th house of work and routine, which favors clearing the practical backlog instead of launching something new. You are ruled by Mercury, and precision with quiet service really is your native language. So let that show in one well finished task. Mercury itself travels Cancer in your 11th house, a good window for a warm, unhurried message to someone in your wider circle. Virgo, notice too that Venus sits in your own first house, debilitated, which can make you unusually self critical about how you appear. Speak to yourself with the same patience you give others, and the connection you were hoping for eases. Mars in Gemini in your 10th house supports steady, visible effort, so pace your energy across the day rather than spending it in one burst. With the Sun and Jupiter both in your 12th house, reflection is the true work today. Let the landing be simple. Share a meal with someone who has little, asking nothing at all in return. May something small go beautifully right for you today. Libra, your circle is where today's warmth lives, and letting people in costs you nothing. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house 5, so play, creativity, and a lighter mood likely set the tone. Now, the Sun and Jupiter, your period lord, both sit in Leo in your house 11 of friendship and community, which means work and money move today through people who already believe in you. Mention what you are building to one supportive colleague. Mercury in Cancer in your house 10 supports a clear message to those who decide, so keep it short. Libra, Saturn is retrograde and weak in Aries in your house 7, your house of partnership, and that simply asks you to slow the pace of one shared decision rather than force it. Ask the question you have been rounding off. Venus rules you, and balance and graceful fairness are your native language, which is why patience here serves you better than pressure. With Venus herself debilitated in Virgo in your house 12, energy favors quite overcrowded hours. Guard your rest. That house 5 lightness from yesterday can stay with you today, carried into your friendships. If you have a little extra, share a meal with someone who is going without. Carry this lightly and have a truly good day. Scorpio, today favors letting your work be seen without you having to push for it. Yesterday, the moon opened in your 4th house, so the pull inward, the wish to be quiet and private, was likely real. Now, the Sun and Jupiter sit together in Leo in your 10th house of career and public standing, and your period lord is that same Jupiter in Leo. So, what you say about your work today lands with weight. Speak plainly about one project you are proud of. Mercury moves through Cancer in your 9th house, Scorpio, which supports honest conversations with mentors, teachers, and the people who have believed in you. That promised weight in your voice shows up best in a message you have been drafting for weeks. Send it. Venus is debilitated in Virgo in your 11th house, so group plans may feel slightly flat. Keep social commitments small and easy rather than forcing brightness. On energy, Mars in Gemini in your 8th house asks for a slower pace and real rest tonight. Depth and quiet resilience are your native language, and Mars, your ruler, gave you both. The inward day yesterday has become an outward one, and it suits you. If someone near you is going without a meal today, quietly see that they eat. The day is yours to shape. Shape it kindly. Sagittarius, today the sky invites you to say plainly what you have been circling and to trust the larger view you already carry. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house 3 and your attention likely turned toward conversations, messages, and the exchange of small but necessary details. Now, with the Sun and Jupiter both in Leo in your house 9, your house of philosophy, travel, and higher learning, work feels most alive when it serves something you actually believe in. Jupiter is your ruler, and optimism paired with honor seeking is your native language, not a pose. So let today's task be shaped by purpose rather than volume. And by beat's end, you will see why one honest conversation matters more than 10 polished ones. Sagittarius, with Mars and Gemini in your house, 7 of partnership, someone close may move quickly. Meeting their pace with candor rather than defense is that honest conversation, and it supports real closeness. Venus is debilitated in Virgo in your house 10, so keep expectations at work modest and your standards for yourself kind. Energy holds best with unhurried food and early rest. The day's arc settles where it began. Fewer words, truer ones. If you can, share a meal with someone who is hungry, asking nothing at all. Walk gently today and let the day come to you. Capricorn, today favors a quieter kind of strength. The day supports looking inward before you decide anything outward. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house too, so your attention likely drifted from personal concerns toward what you hold and value, and that thread continues now. With the Sun and Jupiter, your period lord, both in Leo, in your 8th house, work and money ask for depth rather than display. Review one financial arrangement carefully instead of starting something new. Later today, you may find a conversation gives you the clarity that reviewing alone cannot. Mercury sits in Cancer in your 7th house, your house of partnership, and that is where the clarity arrives. Capricorn, ask the plain question and listen without rehearsing your answer. Saturn, your own ruler, moves retrograde in your 4th house, and steady effort with long patience is genuinely your native language. So give yourself a slower pace at home this evening and let rest count as progress. Introspection and transformation are the shape of this day, and you are built to sit with both without flinching. Somewhere today, offer a quiet act of care. Share a meal with someone who is hungry, and let that be complete in itself. May today bring you one moment worth remembering. Aquarius, today your own clarity is the most useful tool you own, and it is already sharpened. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house 1, so a fresh sense of presence and personal clarity has likely been settling in you since. In work and money, the Sun and Jupiter, your period lord, both sit in Leo in your house 7, the house of partnership and dealings with others, which favors letting a collaborator or client carry the visibility while you supply the thinking. Original thinking and quiet conviction are your native language, Aquarius, and Saturn. Your ruler is retrograde in your house, 3 of communication. So slow, restated messages serve you better than fast ones. In relationships, the moon sextiles Saturn early, exact at 2:43, which supports honest, unhurried conversation. And here is the payoff of that patience. The moon trines Mars at 17:26, a warm window for saying the thing you rehearsed all morning. For energy, keep the day simple and let the evening aspect, not the morning, hold your bigger effort. The cycle that opened in your sign yesterday now has language for itself. If you can, share a meal with someone who is going without one today. Go easy on yourself today. The stars are patient and you can be too. Pisces, today's warmth belongs to the ordinary work you do for others, and it will show in how much lighter your routine feels. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house 12, so you may have spent it turned inward, quieter than usual. The Sun and Jupiter, your ruler, sit together in Leo in your 6th house of service and daily work, which makes this a good window for tidying the tasks that keep everything running. Take one small item off your list early and let that set the tone. Your compassion and imaginative depth are your native language, Pisces, and they show up here as patient, careful effort rather than grand gestures. Venus is debilitated in Virgo in your 7th house, so a partner or close colleague may need a little more listening than usual and softer words rather than sharper ones. There is a lighter routine promised. It comes from asking for help instead of carrying it all. With the moon in Aquarius in your 12th house, rest is the honest form of energy management today, so protect one quiet hour. The inner quiet of yesterday settles into useful, generous action today. If you can, prepare a meal for someone who is hungry and let that be the whole of it. Wishing you a calm and steady day ahead. May this day treat you gently, and may the small choices you make carry you a little closer to the life you are quietly building. Move at your own pace, trust the steadiness you already have, and let today be enough as it is. Whatever the sky offered your sign this morning, meet it with patience rather than pressure, and let your calm set the tone around you. If you have a moment to spare, share a meal with someone who is hungry, or offer a hand to a person carrying more than they can hold, asking nothing in return. If today's sky was useful, subscribing keeps it coming every morning.